My name is Brendan Way and I am the owner of the Denman Island Tea Company. So how did I get started in the tea business? Everyone asks me, how did you start this? How did you get involved in tea? Well, it actually started when I was quite young because I grew up with the Inuit on Baffin Island. I'd go to my friend's house after school, it would be like tea, 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 tea. And then I come home and my dad was a tea drinker. Went to university into climbing and I ended up getting on an expedition and going to Pakistan in the Himalayas. The 6 weeks we're up on the glacier doing this climbing expedition. The last couple days I went into the tent where the cook, Rosie Ali, was making chai, and I watched him. I watched him take up the black tea, mulch the spices, add the cinnamon, add the ginger, and then stew it all up into this beautiful concoction. And that to me was the first real eye-opening event I had with tea in my life. So I came back to Canada, pursued tea as an option, and I started brewing my own chai. And then in 1999, I opened up a tea house in Edmonton called Steeps, the Urban Tea House. It was more of a Starbucks-style tea cafe. Eventually, I had this review in the Edmonton Journal. A guy came in and loved the tea and wrote a little article on me, and people started showing up. And then I went on and I opened up 6 more tea shops after that. So I'd been immersed in the tea, the retailing end of tea for a very, very long time. And what happened is I actually got really tired of it. So we sold the tea shops and I basically took about 1.5 years off, went traveling again. And I was still thinking of the next stage of the tea business for me. I decided to get into blending, to creating the teas. So that's why when you buy tea from the Denman Island Tea Company, they're not somebody else's blends. So now I'm pretty much a blender and a wholesaler. And now that we've renamed the company to the Denman Island Tea Company, we're actually going back into the retailing aspect again. I moved my company to Denman Island for the sole purpose of planting all these tea bushes. So we've got a very beautiful microclimate all up and along Lake On Road and along the bottom of this ridge here. The plan is to develop Canada's first commercial tea garden. So these will all be removed from here, put into individual pots, and then next spring we're going to put them outside in hedges and rows. And from that point on, it's going to be about 3 years of really babying them and looking after them. And then at about year 3 or 4, we should be able to get our first pick. And in doing that, what you do to get your first pick is you actually get in and you're getting these top 2 leaves and a bud. So every tea that you drink starts out from the same tea plant, essentially. There are different varieties of tea plants, but there's still only really one tea plant. The only that makes it different is what you do with the leaf after you pick it. And it will carry on for 100 to 150 years. Like long after I'm gone, these bushes will still be producing tea leaves for somebody who takes over this farm. So this is a legacy project. These tea bushes will produce tea for the next 100 to 150 years. We've left the greenhouse and now we're down here at the warehouse where we actually process and evaluate teas. And this is sort of the nerve center of Denman Island Tea. And what we're doing here is, as you can see, these are laid out for evaluation. And one of the ways that we keep our tea of high quality is we're constantly cupping, we're constantly tasting, we're constantly adjusting our recipes. We mentioned yesterday that this is the tea that I'm hoping in the next 3 to 5 years to have Denman Island grown tea in. These are all from Camellia Sinensis. And Camellia Sinensis is what's growing up in the greenhouse. The cupping is a way that we brew the tea, taste the tea, and compare it to the leaf. I personally don't want to drink any tea that has pesticides or herbicides or anything in it because I'm a lifelong tea drinker. All these pesticides and chemicals they spray on tea bushes, they will accumulate in your body. So it's in your best interest to drink the cleanest tea possible. And I mean tea that is grown as local, obviously as you can get it, and gardens that are certified organic. And those are the only gardens that I deal with. So that's a little bit about my history. I'm passionate about the product. You're imparting the benefit of good health onto people when you introduce them to good tea. I just love tea. It's a great thing.